All right, let's just jump right in. There are some names that just spark something in your imagination, right? And Atlantis? That's got to be at the top of the list. It's one of history's biggest, most epic mysteries. This whole idea of a lost world. It's captivated everyone from treasure hunters to historians for literally centuries. But here's the thing. What if we've all been looking in completely the wrong place? So today, we're going to dig into this really fascinating idea that asks that exact question. I mean, just forget everything you think you know about some sunken city in the middle of the Atlantic. We're going to follow a trail that, well, it points somewhere totally different. And it makes you wonder, could the real Atlantis be hiding right under our noses, somewhere in Europe?
I mean, we all know the story, don't we? This incredible island civilization, just miles ahead of its time, unbelievable technology, a perfect utopia. And then, bam! In a single catastrophic day and night of fire and floods, it was just gone, swallowed by the sea, wiped from history. It's such a powerful story, but where did it even come from?
Okay, so to even begin to figure out where Atlantis might be, we've got to understand the legend itself. Let's peel back all the layers of myth, all the movies, and get right back to the original source. You see, every single thing you've ever seen about Atlantis, every movie, every book, it all comes back to one single ancient story. So to get to the truth, we have to go back to the very beginning and open up the original case file from more than 2,000 years ago. And that brings us to our one and only, you could almost call it an eyewitness account. Now, this isn't some vague myth that was just passed down. Nope, this is a detailed description written by one of the greatest thinkers in all of history. So let's take a look at Plato's original blueprints. That's it. You heard that right. The entire legend of Atlantis comes from the Greek philosopher Plato way back around 360 BCE. He's not just one of the sources, he is the source. Everything, and I mean everything we think we know about Atlantis started right here in these two dialogues. So what did he actually say? Okay, so Plato gives us a pretty specific set of clues. Let's break them down. Clue number one, it was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Now, most people take that to mean the Strait of Gibraltar, out in the Atlantic. Clue two, it was a huge island, larger than Libya and Asia combined. Clue three, it was a serious military power that actually attacked ancient Athens. And finally, the most famous clue of all, it was totally destroyed by these insane earthquakes and floods, vanishing under the waves in just a single day and night.
So, with these clues in hand, people have been taking them literally for centuries, and that's led the search in two main directions. But what if taking it literally is the exact reason we haven't found anything?
And this slide, well, it kind of shows the whole problem perfectly. You've got the Atlantic theory on one side. It takes Plato at his word, but after all this time searching the ocean floor, nothing. Zilch. Then you've got the Mediterranean theory. This one links Atlantis to the very real volcanic eruption that destroyed the island of Thera, which is now Santorini. It's a great story, but the timing is off by about 1,000 years, and the island is way, way too small. See the problem? Neither of the usual suspects really fits.
And that brings us to a huge turning point in this whole mystery. If these massive searches, which have gone on for centuries, have turned up absolutely nothing, well, it forces you to ask a really basic question. Have we been looking in the right place at all? This is where things get really interesting. A growing number of researchers are saying, hold on, we need to completely rethink Plato's clues. And this new idea, this different way of looking at it, is called the European hypothesis.
So, this whole new line of thinking suggests that maybe beyond the Pillars of Hercules didn't mean way out in the Atlantic Ocean. What if Plato was describing a place the ancient Greeks knew about, but the story got twisted and changed over time? A story that pointed in a completely unexpected direction. North. That's it. Just north. Away from the warm waters of the Mediterranean, away from the deep Atlantic, and up toward the colder shores of Europe. I know, it sounds kind of wild, but it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And this just blows the whole investigation wide open with new questions. Like, could Atlantis have been Doggerland? That was a real place, a huge land bridge that connected Great Britain to mainland Europe and was slowly swallowed by the sea after the Ice Age. I mean, a whole landmass vanishing beneath the waves? That sounds like a legend in the making. Or, hey, maybe Plato's story was a garbled version of an advanced culture in Spain. Or maybe it was a retelling of an old Celtic legend from Ireland. All of a sudden, the possibilities are just everywhere. So where does all this leave us? Well, while this European hypothesis gives us a fresh, really exciting new angle on the clues, the honest truth is that the story of Atlantis is still one of history's great unsolved mysteries. So let's just quickly recap our little investigation here. We started with the one and only source, Plato, and his very specific clues. We saw how taking those clues literally led to dead ends in the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. Then, we made a hard pivot and explored how a totally new hypothesis opens up Europe as a potential hunting ground. And yet, after all of that, the final answer? Well, it's still just tantalizingly out of our reach. And you know, maybe that's the real magic of this legend. Maybe our obsession with Atlantis isn't really just about finding some sunken city. Maybe it's about the idea of a lost golden age, a perfect society that we lost, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, we could rediscover a little piece of that forgotten wisdom.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Maybe we'll find it someday. Maybe we won't. But perhaps the real journey isn't about just sticking a pin in a map. Maybe it's about challenging what we think we know and learning to see these ancient stories in a completely new light. The real key might not be where we're looking, but how we're looking. What do you think?